127 men have made their way to Minehead for the UK Open, but not Michael van Gerwen. The defending champion is out with a back injury. So who will take his crown?
This is the tournament that pits the amateurs against the real artistes of the game. And a chance to grab their 15 minutes of fame. Remember Barry Lynn from last year? Of course we do.
With 8 boards going at once, darting drama is guaranteed.
And it's an open draw, so the big boys can't hide behind their seedings.
It's a tournament like no other, and that is why we love it.
Terrific weekend, guaranteed.
The most fascinating weekend on the whole darts calendar.
It will be rocking.
Totally different atmosphere.
Love the UK Open. Happy days.
This is perfect.
We have got a cracker for you here. Incredible atmosphere. They are loving this.
Don't dip your bread here, son.
How about that? Oh, superb. Darts to take your breath away. Oh, brilliant. The big boys joining the party. Gary Anderson. Oh, he's easy, isn't he? He's smashing around the ball. He is absolutely living the dream. Barry Lynn has beaten Gary Anderson in one of the biggest upsets in the UK Open. Michael van Gerwen with a sensational performance. Double 12 from Magical Live Darter.
Not van Gerwen, I don't care.
Michael van Gerwen. Yes. Unbelievable. Oh, superb. How about that? Oh. Monumental. Michael van Gerwen back-to-back UK Open triumphs.
We're beside the sea here in Minehead for the UK Open. It's called the FA Cup of Darts, and it's easy to see why. Over the next 3 days, the big names will rub shoulders with plenty of up-and-coming talent, as 95 professionals and 32 amateurs to battle. This afternoon, we have 8 boards running simultaneously as our first and second round games are played out. These matches are all the best of 11 or the first to 6 legs. This evening, the top 32 players on the UK Open Order of Merit enter the fray, and we have 32 third round games, again spread out over 8 boards. Tomorrow, the 4th and 5th rounds take place, and it's an action-filled day on Sunday with the quarters, the semis and the final. Unlike most tournaments, this is an open draw, so there are no seedings, and that means no protection for the big names. MVG won't be winning his 3rd UK Open title in a row, but this year's champion will walk away with a cheque for £70,000. We have our darts sage, Alan Warren-a-Little, with us throughout the tournament. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Yes, well, I thought I'd wear green, bearing in mind we've got no MVG,
And
trying to make up
as soon as I
for
saw you
it.
changing, I knew what you were doing. I saw your plan.
Not quite making up for it, but it's
Yeah.
weird, isn't it, not having MVG here? He has a back injury, had to miss the Premier League as well.
Yep.
So what does that mean technically for the rest of the draw?
Yeah, just to clarify that obviously he's not in the draw for the 3rd round. So following the first 2 rounds this afternoon, those 32 will go in the draw with the 31 seeds, and the last person drawn will get the bye to go into the 4th round.
So it opens it up for everybody else.
Covered in our rules.
Yes, it's all in the rules. It opens it up, so the mind kind of goes along the likes of Gary Anderson, of course. Peter Wright last night, 119 average in the Premier League in Exeter, the 2nd highest average on television in history.
Yeah, he's playing
Is
very
he the
well.
obvious one?
Well, he would have been many people's favourite as well, even despite Michael pulling out before that. He would have been same with Gary. Now, the way Peter's been playing recently, he's doing it on a regular basis, pulling out these big averages. As you mentioned, 119 last night. He had 133, I think, in an exhibition against Michael.
Cheltenham, yeah.
And he's doing it on the Pro Tour on a regular basis as well. So he is really up in the ante. We said, didn't we, 6-8 months ago, is he going to win a title? But now he's upping his averages all the time, so he's giving himself a better chance. And with Michael not here, the problem really is complacency.
Complacency. Well, I wonder what it's done for everybody else when they saw that Michael was, well, first of all, he was going to be highly unlikely to be able to compete, and then
Probably
this morning we
a few
had
yippies and a few dances.
Do you think?
Well,
because we're so used to him lifting it on ITV4,
Michael's
he's done it for years.
such a good player, isn't he? I mean, he's the world champion, he's the world #1 reigning champion and favourite at every event he goes to. Unfortunately, he's got an injury, that can happen. It's just one of those things. But I'm sure people will be thinking, well, it's a big chance for me here. Not just the top 3, 4 or 5 players, but even players a bit further down.
There's no Mensur Suljovic, there's no Phil Taylor. So who is your tip if it's fair to ask you to pick out 1 or 2 for us from the pack?
Well, the two obvious ones are going to be Gary because he's such a good player, obviously, and playing at a very high standard regularly as well. And he lives just up the road. He can travel from home and stay in his own house and drink his own coffee.
Didn't work for him last year, though, did it?
No, it didn't. No, to be fair, it didn't. But Peter's just at that level now where you think this is his time. When you look at the amateurs, I've picked out a few. Dean Reynolds is number 5 in the BDO rankings. Won our PDC development tour last year. Alex Roy, who's been here every year since the start of the UK Open with 5 other players, should I say. And Paul Hogan, you know, he's had a couple of good runs here, so they're dangerous qualifiers.
Darren Webster, I've got a sneaky feeling about him for some reason.
Yeah, well, he played so well down here last time, didn't he? And it was 6-0 up against Michael, wasn't he? And then Michael just turned on the gas. There's going to be 2, 3 or 4 players that are going to make a mark at some point, but it depends how the draw goes as well, because you just don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get so much of a mixed bag. You can get all the seeds drawing each other. You can get all the qualifiers drawing each other. That's the beauty of this tournament. It's just so unique.
And the short format, of course, in the earlier rounds makes it more likely that we're going to see an upside.
Yeah, it certainly is, yeah. The seeds certainly, or sort of the top players won't like to be playing in the early rounds, but obviously once the seeds come in the 64, it's up to 19 then, so they'll be a little bit happier.
OK, well, with 8 boards going at once in both sessions today, the arrows will be flying thick and fast. As usual, Ned Boulting's on hand for us in his spiritual home, the multi-board area, and he's joined by a man who's equally in his element down there, Chris Mason.
That's right, Jackie. Breathe in the darting air. This is the very essence of Butlins Minehead here, isn't it? This is why we love the UK Open, Chris, down here, the multi-board area, boards 3 to 8, and this is what the competition's all about.
Yeah, it's very unique. No other event like it. It's exciting, and we always get a couple of random names come through. Barry Lynn last year, and Rob Cross, and obviously Rob Cross has gone on to do very well the past 12 months. So yeah, we're hoping to find another star.
That was brilliant watching Barry Lynn in action last year, wasn't it? I mean, it was just, you know, in the course of a weekend, he went on the journey of a lifetime, didn't he?
Yeah, it's very like the FA Cup, I suppose, isn't it? Same kind of thing. You get those fairy tale stories, and it was great. I mean, beating Gary Anderson, there'll be a moment in his career that he will, and especially the scoreline 9-3. He just had a fairy tale weekend. Not done so well since, but that sometimes can happen. You think you've sort of got the game nailed, and you go away, and your attitude changes slightly. But it was a good story. Yeah,
it was amazing to watch. Now listen, we've got a few potential Barry Lynns knocking around here, no doubt about that. But there's also some really big names sort of slumming it down here. Relatively, we've got both the Jenkins in action this afternoon, Terry and Andy. We've got the likes of Alan Tabban, former semi-finalist. I mean, the list goes on.
Alex Roy, who's been at every one of these UK Opens from the very beginning.
He's on stage 2, isn't he? So he doesn't have to deal with this quite.
No, but this is quite a nice atmosphere to play in. It's, you know, the fans are really close to you, so you know your supporters. You can really feel their passion. And I didn't mind playing out on the backboards.
Listen, Chris, give us a tip, give us a name that might just emerge.
I think Rob Cross can potentially have another run. I like Chris Dobie. He's getting better and better and better. I mean, the top 100 and I know the top 128 players are on the main Pro Tour. I think 12 of the top 64 missed out on qualifying, so that just shows you how tough this is.
Yeah.
And I know firsthand how tough it is, because I tried to just come through a Riley's qualifier and fell at the penultimate hurdle. But there's just so much talent about, and now it's opened up. No MVG, no Phil Taylor. You know, it is made for someone to sort of come out of the ranks and make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and well, everyone's got to raise their game. You've certainly raised your game shirt-wise, right from the off.
Dare to be different, that's what Claudio tells me.
You've certainly done that. Bird of Paradise down here, Chris Mason in the bunker room of the UK Open.
Those boys don't need to raise their game. It's always right up there all the time for us. Time for a quick break now before we get our first session underway at the UK Open here in Minehead. Remember, 127 players have turned up here with high hopes, but 95 of those will be on their way home by the close of play tonight. We'll be back shortly.